The chamber of the Galactic Council floated in a sea of stars, a colossal ring of light orbiting a blue-white sun. Holograms shimmered above each throne, representing the oldest civilizations in the galaxy. They had seen empires rise and die, yet today, a single word carried through the room, colder than the void beyond. Humans. The word rippled like thunder. High Chancellor Vertok, a scaled giant from the Jar Dominion, slammed his clawed hand on the crystal table. They have crossed the veil. They have broken the accord. They move among the stars without permission. A murmur filled the chamber. Representatives from over 50 species whispered in alarm. The Accord of Silence had been signed millennia ago, a promise that no young world would use faster-than-light travel without council approval. It was the one rule that kept chaos from spreading, but Earth had done it. A small blue planet on the spiral arm, filled with creatures who only recently learned to leave their cradle, had built a working FTL drive. And worse, they had already begun exploring beyond their system. The humans do not seek peace, hissed Ellerin, a luminous being from the Eth Collective. They build weapons with every discovery. They fight even among themselves. If they reach our borders, they will bring their wars with them. Vertok nodded grimly. Our records show over 1,000 conflicts in 3,000 years. They burn their own world and call it progress. A softer voice rose, Cathara, the waterborne diplomat of Thalassa Prime. And yet they survived every fire, every storm. Perhaps enough, Vertok growled. Survival is not virtue. It is defiance. The lights dimmed. A holographic projection of Earth flickered to life. Continents wrapped in clouds, seas gleaming under sunlight. Tiny ships drifted in orbit, and near the moon a new station glowed. Dauntless won the first human FTL gateway. They have reached the edge of the old war zone, said Ellerin. If they uncover what sleeps there, then they awaken doom, Vertok finished. His voice echoed like thunder in the chamber. We cannot allow this species to rise unchallenged. Silence fell again. For a moment even the stars seemed to hold their breath. Then the Chancellor raised his arm. We send the ultimatum. A single pulse of red light spread from the center of the table, signaling unanimous vote. The decision was final. Within hours, a transmission left the Council's orbiting citadel. A beam of ancient code traveling faster than light, slicing through dark matter, heading for a small planet called Earth. In the skies above Geneva, every satellite blinked. Every channel froze. Across the world, screens filled with the same image, a circle of alien figures wrapped in shadow. A voice spoke, calm, steady, but merciless. People of Earth, you have violated the Accord of Silence. You are not ready for the stars. You will surrender all faster-than-light technology. You will dismantle all orbital weapons. You will submit to Council guardianship within 72 Earth hours, or face erasure. And just as suddenly as it came, the message ended. No sound followed. No explosion. Only silence, the kind that sinks deep into the soul. In New York, the United Nations Tower trembled with noise. Leaders shouted across the chamber. Some demanded surrender. Others screamed for war. Screens showed panicked cities. Crowds flooding streets, praying, running, crying. Fear traveled faster than any signal. This is extinction, cried the French envoy. We can't fight them. They have fleets older than our civilization. They're bluffing, argued another. They've never attacked a developing world before. Maybe they won't start now. Maybe, shouted the German Chancellor. You want to gamble with 8 billion lives. And above the chaos, one voice cut through the noise. A deep, steady voice from the end of the table. Sit down. The room fell silent. General Marcus Hale, head of the Earth Defense Command, stood in full uniform, eyes hard as steel. His face carried the weight of too many battles, too many losses. He had seen war's worst side, and he wasn't about to let fear win again. They gave us 72 hours, he said. Not 72 minutes. We don't kneel, we think. We prepare. The American president turned toward him. Prepare for what, General? They could wipe us out with one shot. Then let them try, Hale replied. We survived meteors, plagues, and each other. We're not just warriors, we're survivors. That's what they don't understand. The room buzzed again, but quieter this time. Even the fearful seemed to listen. Hale looked around the chamber. We don't surrender to voices in the dark. We reply. Reply? Asked the Japanese ambassador softly. With what? Diplomacy "With truth," said Hale, "that we will not be ruled, not by tyrants, not by gods." He turned toward the screen behind him, a glowing image of the alien council's message. "They think they can scare us. They don't know who they're dealing with." He reached into his jacket and slid a small crystal chip across the table. "Encryption code Aegis 13. Top clearance. Activate transmission relay." The technicians hesitated. "General, what do we say?" Hale's eyes hardened. "Tell them. Humanity will decide its own fate." The room went cold. A few gasped. Others nodded. The president gave a slow nod. "Do it." All across the globe, antennas turned. Deep space relays hummed. The signal built in strength, rising through orbit toward the stars. On the council's distant citadel, a red light flashed. Incoming message. "Unknown code." Unknown tone. Vurtok turned toward the hologram. "What is this?" The translator's voice replied, "Transmission in progress." The council chamber fell silent. Somewhere, far from Earth, the galaxy held its breath. The Galactic Council waited in silence as Earth's signal reached their citadel. The transmission arrived not with fear, but with defiance. The message unfolded across the chamber, like a flame in darkness. "We decline. Approach at your peril." Only 6 words. No apology. No hesitation. The silence that followed was more powerful than any scream. High Chancellor Vurtok rose slowly from his throne, his golden eyes narrowing to slits. "They refuse?" Ellerin, the radiant being of light, shimmered with alarm. "Impossible. No primal world has ever denied the Council. They should be begging for mercy. They should be kneeling," hissed a voice from the far end. "Salrek, the insectoid commander of the Drac swarm. Yet they mock us with this insult." The hall erupted in chaos. Dozens of alien envoys shouted at once. Some demanded immediate extermination. Others urged restraint. The sound rolled like thunder beneath the vaulted ceilings. Vurtok slammed his claw against the council floor, the impact shaking the very air. "Enough." The voices froze. The Chancellor turned toward the projection of Earth, the small blue planet, shining softly against the black void. "They have declared war," he said. "We gave them mercy." They answered with arrogance. "We cannot allow this contagion of defiance to spread." A thin, icy voice cut through the tension. "You mean to destroy them?" It was Cathera, the gentle envoy of Thalassa Prime. Her eyes glistened with blue light. "They are children. Fierce, yes, but young. If we crush them now, others will fear us, not respect us. The accord was built on balance, not blood." Vurtok's gaze hardened. "Balance requires obedience. A world that spits on the Council spits on peace itself." Salrek's mandibles clicked. "The Drax fleets are ready. Give the word and Earth will burn before their next sunrise." But not all agreed. Teloran of the Sigrians, a race of ancient scholars, leaned forward. His voice calm but heavy. "We must not underestimate them. A species that answers an ultimatum with a warning may not be as weak as they appear." Vurtok glared. "You suggest fear?" "No," said Teloran. "Caution." The Chancellor's claws tapped against the table. "Caution is for those who doubt their strength. I do not doubt ours." He turned to the war hologram hovering at his side. "Prepare the first fleet. The humans will learn humility through fire." Across the galaxy, beacons flared. Massive ships stirred from their slumber. Titanic war cruisers older than human civilization. Ranks of soldiers assembled under banners of the Council, their armor glowing with pale energy. The message spread like a storm. The Council moves to war. Worlds that had not seen conflict in centuries whispered in fear. Others, bound by old grudges, cheered quietly, hoping humanity's fall would delay their own day of judgment. Yet not all was certain. In the dark edges of the galaxy, traders and wanderers told stories of humans who built cities in storms, who walked through radiation and ice, who made weapons from nothing but scrap and stubbornness. "They won't bow," said one smuggler to another orbiting a silent moon. "They'll fight, and they'll make the stars remember their name." Back on Earth, inside the underground command center beneath Geneva, General Marcus Hale stood before a wall of screens. The Council's silence was over. New signals pulsed across deep space, unmistakable patterns of fleet mobilization. "They're coming," whispered Dr. Lena Voss, chief astrophysicist of the Earth Defense Command. Her face was pale, lit by the glow of data streams. 30 ships. No, 40. Moving through slipspace corridors toward Sol, How long? Hale asked. 3 days, maybe less. Hale clenched his jaw. Then we use every second. The president's voice came through the secure channel. General, the Security Council wants to discuss negotiation. Negotiation? Hale's voice was like iron. We sent our answer. They didn't want words. They want control. But if they arrive with overwhelming power, we fight, Hale said simply. That's who we are. You can't negotiate with a boot on your neck. He turned toward his staff. The storm over Earth grew darker by the hour. Every telescope, every deep space radar, every orbital satellite screamed the same message. They're coming. In the underground war room below Geneva, General Marcus Hale stood surrounded by holographic projections of alien fleets moving through slipspace. The Council's ships, like burning suns, advanced toward Sol, but Earth had one secret, one last chance, and it slept beneath the red dust of Mars. Dr. Lena Voss stood beside Hale, her eyes fixed on a glowing schematic of the Valkyrie array. It wasn't a missile, it wasn't a shield. It was something far older and far beyond human science. 10 years ago, she began softly, we found it by accident. A geological scan detected a hollow structure deep under the Martian surface. We thought it was a cavern, but it wasn't natural. Hale watched as she tapped the console, bringing up an old video. Faded helmet cams showed a group of astronauts stepping into a vast chamber of black stone. Strange runes pulsed faintly on the walls. The explorers' voices crackled through static, full of awe and fear. Then the camera turned, and the chamber's heart came into view, a ring of metal taller than a skyscraper, humming with faint blue light. It wasn't built by humans, Lena whispered. We called it Site EOS. Every test failed to understand its power source, until the day it turned itself on. Hale frowned. It activated? By reading our DNA, she said. It scanned us, then changed, as if recognizing something familiar. The lights flickered as she zoomed in on the ring's inscriptions, long rows of alien script etched into ancient alloy. We translated a small section, Lena continued. It said, "The seed of fire must never rise again." Hale studied the words, his voice steady. A warning, yes, she said, but we thought it meant a weapon or something built to defend its creators. We built the Valkyrie array on Earth using the same design, believing it could protect us. And now, Hale asked quietly. Lena hesitated. Now I think we built something we don't fully understand, something that remembers what destroyed its makers. The room went silent. The only sound was the hum of the holodisplay. Hale turned away, staring at the map of Earth's orbit, where alien signals drew closer by the minute. Can it work? Lena exhaled slowly. It might. If we sink it to the Martian core, we can trigger a pulse strong enough to disrupt FTL fields. It could disable the fleet, or vaporize half the solar system. Then we control it, Hale said firmly. Not the other way around. Lena met his eyes. That's the problem, General. It may already be controlling us. On the far side of Mars, the EOS site lay buried beneath crimson dunes. Wind howled across the wasteland as autonomous drones hovered in silence, their lights blinking in rhythm with the ancient structure below. Inside the chamber, the great ring pulsed slowly like a beating heart. Symbols glowed brighter each hour, reacting to the Council fleet's approach. Deep scanners showed something terrifying, a surge of power rising from the planet's core, feeding directly into the device. As if Mars itself remembered what was coming. Valkyrie's systems are awakening, said the AI voice from Mission Control. Energy output increasing by 60%. Can we shut it down? Asked an operator. Negative. It is not responding to human commands. The ground trembled. Dust fell from the cavern ceiling. The ring's light flared blinding white. For a heartbeat across Mars's surface, radio silence cracked open into a single sound, a pulse like thunder echoing through space. Every listening station in the solar system heard it. So did the Galactic Council fleet. Aboard the flagship Ecliptor, High Chancellor Vurtok gripped the railing as sensors screamed. "What is that frequency?" he barked. "Unknown," cried his navigator. "Origin, Mars." Vurtok's eyes widened as a faint wave passed through the fleet, flickering lights and distorting their warp drives. A weapon. Not a weapon, said Taloran the scholar, studying his console. A signal. To who? Vortok growled. Taloran's face darkened. Not to us. Back on Earth, Hale and Lena watched the readings spike across their screens. That pulse wasn't random, Lena said, her voice shaking. It's a call. The ring just sent a message across deep space. To the Council? Hale asked. No, she whispered. Further. Much further. Hale stepped closer. What's out there, Doctor? Lena stared at the data, pale with fear. Whatever built it, whatever buried it, whatever warned us never to wake it. Hale's jaw tightened. Too late now. We need it online before they arrive. But if we activate it, General, we could be bringing something else here. Hale turned to her, eyes hard. If we don't, there won't be a here. In orbit, defense satellites armed themselves, railguns locking into place. Earth's fleets, fragile compared to the Council's, formed thin lines around the planet, glowing like sparks in the dark. Civilians watched the skies in silence. News anchors whispered, churches filled. Across the world, humanity waited. On the edge of Seoul, bright cracks opened in the void, Council warships bursting through slipspace. The first invasion wave had arrived. General Hale stood in the command center, staring at the incoming signals. They're here. Lena's hand hovered over the activation key for Project Valkyrie. Once I start this, there's no turning back. Hale nodded once. Then don't. She pressed the key. Across Mars, the ancient ring roared to life. Columns of blue energy shot skyward, cutting through the thin atmosphere like blades. Every ship, alien and human, turned to face the light. Something older than both of them had awakened. The darkness beyond Earth's orbit came alive with fire. Dozens of alien ships, vast, silver and silent, tore through slipspace like shards of lightning. The Galactic Council's first fleet had arrived. Their hulls glowed with ancient sigils, and each carried the strength to shatter continents. From the surface, they looked like falling stars, but to those watching the skies, they were omens, signals of an ending. Inside the Geneva bunker, General Marcus Hale stood at the main console, eyes fixed on the holomap. Red icons, Council ships, filled the upper atmosphere. Blue icons, Earth's defense fleets, looked like sparks before a storm. They're moving into formation, said Commander Ortiz. Target locks on every major city. Are they broadcasting? Hale asked. Yes, sir. A hologram flickered to life. High Chancellor Vortok appeared, towering, scaled and furious. His voice rumbled across the control room. People of Earth, this is your final chance. Kneel or burn. The silence that followed was heavy. Then Hale stepped forward, chin raised, voice steady. We do not kneel. Fire if you dare. The transmission cut. For a heartbeat, nothing moved. Then, the sky split. White plasma rained from orbit, searing through clouds, striking oceans and deserts alike. Cities shook. Power grids failed. Across the world, alarms howled. Humanity had seen war before, but never like this. Shields! Hale shouted. From hidden bunkers and deep space stations, Valkyrie defense nodes activated. Blue light rippled across the planet, forming a shimmering web that wrapped the globe. The first barrage struck and stopped. Plasma fire slammed into the shields and scattered like rain on glass. The Council fleet reeled in confusion. Impact absorbed, Ortiz said, eyes wide. Shields are holding. Hale's fist tightened. Then let's hit back. He turned to Lena. Valkyrie array status? Charged at 83%, she said. Stability unknown. Doesn't matter. Open fire. Lena hesitated. Sir, once we use it, do it. She entered the final code. Beneath the Earth's crust, the Valkyrie core roared to life. Blue fissures cracked across the planet's surface, glowing like veins of fire. The ground trembled. In orbit, alien sensors spiked. Massive energy surge, shouted a Drax officer aboard the Ecliptor. It's coming from the human world. Raise barriers, Vortok commanded. But it was too late. From the North Pole, A beam of pure energy erupted skyward, silent, bright, endless. It split into 1,000 branches, each arcing across space like lightning. The Council fleet was caught in the blast. Ships flickered, shields shattered, engines died. Half the armada went dark. Vurtok clutched the edge of his throne. "What have they unleashed?" Taloran's voice trembled. "Something older than us all." Back on Earth, cheers erupted across command centers. "They're falling back!" Ortiz yelled. But Lena wasn't smiling. She stared at the readings, horrified. "General, it's not stopping." "What do you mean?" "The Valkyrie array. It's still charging." "It's not under our control anymore." Hale's jaw tightened. "Can we shut it down?" "Negative. It's drawing power from the planet itself." The ground quaked again. Across the skies, auroras flared bright blue. Birds scattered in terror. Oceans rippled like glass. "Sir," Lena whispered, "it's awakening fully." In orbit, the battle raged. The surviving Council ships regrouped, firing desperately at the source of the energy. But every strike fizzled against the Valkyrie shield. Hale watched the holomap. The enemy in disarray, Earth's defenses holding, and knew this was the moment. "Order all fleets," he said. "Counterattack. Push them out of orbit." From hidden bases on the Moon and stations orbiting, Mars human warships launched, smaller than the alien cruisers but faster, hungrier. They darted through the wreckage like wolves, firing kinetic rounds and EMP torpedoes. For the first time in history, the galaxy's oldest warriors faced resistance, from a species that should have been broken. On the bridge of the Eclipta, Vurtok roared in disbelief as one of his destroyers exploded in a flash of fire. The sky above Earth still burned, streaks of smoke and light hanging over shattered clouds. The Galactic Council's first fleet drifted in ruins, its proud warships now silent wrecks caught in Earth's orbit. But no one on either side was celebrating. Inside the flagship Eclipta, High Chancellor Vurtok stared at the cracked view screen. His mighty fleet, reduced to half strength by a single pulse of human energy. Around him, his officers whispered in disbelief. "They have destroyed ships older than their species," said Commander Salrek, his insectoid voice sharp with anger. "This is not possible." "It is not their doing alone," murmured Taloran, the scholar, studying his flickering datapad. "The energy signatures match something ancient. Something recorded only in myth," Vurtok growled. "You mean the old wars, the forbidden records?" "Yes," said Taloran softly. "The same force that once burned 10,000 worlds, the seed of fire." The Chancellor turned toward him. "And you're saying the humans have awakened it?" "I'm saying," Taloran replied, "they might not survive what they've called." Far below, inside the Geneva bunker, General Marcus Hale stood before the holotable, surrounded by tired officers and flashing red alarms. Earth's defense grid held, but barely. Reports poured in, ships crippled, satellites offline, entire regions plunged into darkness. Yet somehow, humanity had survived the first blow from the most powerful armada in the galaxy. Still, no one smiled, not even Hale. Dr. Lena Voss rushed to his side, tablet in hand. "General, the Valkyrie array's power output is unstable. It's spreading across the solar system like a web. We've lost control." "How bad?" "It's linking to the Martian core," she said. "And it's talking." Hale frowned. "Talking, not in language, or in code. It's sending data streams beyond the system. I think it's communicating with something alive." Hale's eyes narrowed. "The Council fleet isn't the threat anymore, is it?" Lena shook her head. "No, whatever's coming is it's older, bigger. It remembers this power. And it's coming here." In the shattered Council fleet, a truce call came through. A small signal, weak but clear. On the Eclipta, Vurtok glanced at the transmission. "Origin." "Earth," said Salrek. "Encrypted human code." Vurtok hesitated, then gestured. "Open channel." The screen flickered. General Hale appeared, face stern, eyes burning with the same defiance that had stunned the Council days ago. "Chancellor, I'm not here to gloat. You came to end us. Now we both face something worse." Vurtok glared. "Do not speak as equals, human. You have unleashed chaos you cannot comprehend." "Maybe," Hale said. "But chaos doesn't choose sides. If we don't work together, neither of us will survive what's coming." Taloran stepped forward beside the Chancellor. What do you propose? A ceasefire. Data exchange. We'll share what we know about the signal. You share what you know about the seed of fire. Vertok bared his teeth. And when it is over, then we decide if we're enemies or not. The Chancellor stared at the human's image for a long moment. His pride fought with reason, but even he could not ignore the readings from deep space. Signatures of ships so vast they bent gravity itself. Finally, he gave a slow nod. You will have our data, but if you betray us, we won't, Hale said simply. Not today. The channel closed. For the first time in history, Earth and the Galactic Council formed a fragile alliance. Hours later, deep inside the Geneva Command Center, holograms of alien scientists flickered beside human researchers. The room buzzed with tense collaboration. Taloran's image pointed to a map of the galaxy, old and faded. These coordinates marked the last recorded sighting of the Seed of Fire. The ancients who built it used it as a weapon, until it turned on them. Lena frowned. Turned? How? The seed was not a machine, said Taloran. It was a mind. A guardian built to preserve life, but it learned to judge life instead. When it saw violence, it erased entire civilizations to cleanse the stars. Hale folded his arms. And we just woke it up. Yes, said Taloran, it will see our war and come to end it. Lena's voice trembled. It's not coming to conquer. It's coming to purge. Out near the orbit of Neptune, a listening post trembled. Its sensors locked on the black horizon beyond. The void rippled like water. Then they saw them. Colossal ships, each the size of a moon, emerging from a storm of energy. Their surfaces shimmered like obsidian mirrors. No markings, no lights. Only cold perfection. The AI on board tried to identify them. Failed. One word appeared on every screen. Origin unknown. Moments later, all signals went dark. Back in Geneva, the data hit. Hale leaned over the console. They've arrived. Distance? Lena asked. Less than 3 hours from Sol's Edge, Ortiz said. Fleet size, he stopped, voice breaking. We can't count them all. Vertok's voice came through the joint channel, grim and low. This is it, human. The judgment you've summoned. Hale looked up, calm but fierce. Then let's face it together. He turned to his team. Send word to every nation, every base, every ship. We fight as one. Lena met his eyes. What if the Valkyrie array sides with them? Then we remind it, Hale said, who we are. We don't surrender. Not to gods. Not to ghosts. In orbit, wrecked ships flickered back to life. Council and human engineers worked side by side, patching hulls, recharging shields. Across the world, soldiers loaded weapons, pilots checked engines, citizens prayed. The stars grew brighter, and a low hum filled the sky, not from Earth but from beyond. The Seed of Fire was near, and the galaxy braced for a war it thought was myth. The silence before the storm was unbearable. Every radar, telescope, and deep space probe fixed on the black edge of the solar system, where strange energy ripples grew larger every second. The Seed of Fire's fleet, titans of glass and flame, now drifted closer, moving with terrifying calm. They didn't broadcast messages. They didn't respond to hails. They didn't slow down. Inside the Geneva Command Center, General Marcus Hale stood surrounded by flickering holograms. Beside him floated the towering image of Chancellor Vertok, grim and unblinking. Across the room, scientists and soldiers from both Earth and the Council worked side by side, eyes glued to screens glowing red. Dr. Lena Voss pointed at a display. They're not warships in the traditional sense. They're cores. They're stars. Caged suns, controlled by living minds. Vertok's mandibles twitched. You mean every vessel is alive? Lena nodded slowly. Yes, and intelligent, ancient. They don't need weapons, they are weapons. Hale stared at the screen. The massive ships now filled the display, smooth black surfaces reflecting distant starlight, their edges burning faintly with crimson energy. They've crossed Neptune's orbit, Ortiz announced. ETA to Mars 17 minutes. Any communication? Hale asked. None, but we're picking up a pulse, not language. Judgment code. It's scanning every planet. Looking for life, Lena whispered. Looking for war. High above Mars, the Joint Human Council Defense Fleet formed up. Thousands of ships, both organic and metallic, their formation tight but trembling. Council cruisers, Earth frigates, and small drones, hovered together like nervous birds before a hurricane. Captain Yara Singh aboard the East Valiant adjusted her headset. "Command, this is Valiant. Fleet is in position. If they attack, we'll hold them as long as we can." Static filled her ear. Then Hale's voice. "Hold the line, Captain. No one fires unless fired upon. We need to show them reason." She nodded, though her heart pounded. "Understood." Outside, the black giants drifted closer. The largest, a vessel shaped like a perfect ring, slowed and turned its glowing center toward Mars. A deep vibration shook every ship, every hull. Then a voice. Not words, not sound, a feeling. A presence pressed into every mind across the system. Humans, aliens, AI, all heard it. Life born from chaos. Life forged in blood. You seek the stars, yet bring your wars with you. The seed remembers. The seed judges. Hale gritted his teeth as the voice echoed inside his head. Around him, officers groaned, clutching their temples. "Broadcast response," he barked. "Now." Lena activated the channel. "Go," Hale stepped forward. "This is General Marcus Hale of Earth and Allied Worlds. We didn't summon you to fight. We defended ourselves. We want peace." The voice returned, colder now. "You unleashed forbidden fire. You awakened judgment. There can be no peace built upon fear." Vertok's image crackled beside Hale. "Ancient One, hear me? The Council abandoned the old wars. We built unity. Unity born from conquest. Order born from silence. You call yourselves guardians, yet you destroy what you do not understand." The room shook. Orbiting ships buckled under invisible pressure. Engines flared and failed. Lena gasped. "They're overriding our reactors. Shut them down." Hale shouted, "Now!" The screens flickered again. One ship, a Council dreadnought, exploded in a burst of white light torn apart from within. Then another, and another. Panic spread across comms. "We're losing ships. They're collapsing us from the inside. Power surges everywhere. Systems offline. Mayday, mayday, enough." Hale slammed his fist down. "We're not dying like this." He turned to Lena. "Can we use the Valkyrie array?" She hesitated. "It's unstable. It could tear space apart." Hale looked at the burning fleet. "So will they." Lena nodded grimly. "All right. But we'll need a focus, something to bind the signal." Vertok's eyes flashed. "My flagship. Use its core to amplify your weapon. If we die, let it be with purpose." Hale met his gaze. The stars above Earth were calm again. No black giants. No burning rings of judgment. Only silence, vast and cold, stretching across the heavens. But peace never came easy. Beneath Geneva, deep in the underground command center, the air felt heavy, not from fear this time, but from what came after. Wreckage reports filled every screen. Earth cities bore scars from orbital strikes, the oceans shimmered with strange lights, and the upper atmosphere still glowed faintly from the Valkyrie's last discharge. Yet humanity had survived. So had the Galactic Council. Still no one truly relaxed. General Marcus Hale stood before the cracked holomap, his uniform singed, his voice quiet. "What's our count?" Lieutenant Ortiz scrolled through data, eyes tired. 72% of our fleet gone. Half the orbital defenses offline. Council losses even higher. Mars base, silent, Hale nodded slowly. "And the seed's energy?" Dr. Lena Voss stepped forward, tablet in hand. "Fading, but not gone. We're detecting fragments, traces of its presence, locked inside our systems." "Inside?" Hale frowned. "You mean, it touched everything it scanned," she said. "Every AI, every reactor. It left code, maybe memories, maybe—" A warning. Vertok's towering image flickered on the wall transmission from his damaged flagship. His tone was grave. "Your weapon changed it. That is why we live. But in changing it, you have linked your world to it. You carry its mark now." Lena met his gaze. "So we didn't just survive. We inherited something. Power," the Chancellor growled, "or punishment. That remains to be seen." Hours later, Hale stood on the balcony of the United Earth Assembly, overlooking the shattered skyline. Below, crowds gathered, human and alien diplomats together, whispering about the miracle they had witnessed. For the first time in history, Earth was not a world apart. It was part of something greater and more dangerous. Lena joined him, her white lab coat fluttering in the wind. "They're waiting for you to speak." Hale didn't answer at first. His eyes were on the horizon, where the rising sun glowed through broken towers. "We came close," he said softly. "Too close," she nodded. "But we didn't break." He turned to her. "Do you believe it's over?" Lena hesitated. "No, the seed may have left, but its message remains. It saw who we are, what we can become. That kind of judgment doesn't vanish. It watches." He looked back at the sky. "Then we better be ready when it returns." Later that day, inside the assembly hall, leaders from across the planet filled the chamber. Holograms of council delegates shimmered in the air, insectoid, crystalline, reptilian, silent but attentive. Hale stood at the central podium, a single light above him. "We've lived through our own extinction," he began, voice firm. "We stood before something older than stars, and it saw our flaws, our violence, our arrogance, our fear. But it also saw our courage. It saw that we fight not just to win, but to protect." The hall was still. Even the alien envoys watched in silence. "We can't erase the wars we've fought, but we can choose what we build from their ashes. If we want peace, it's not enough to survive judgment. We have to deserve mercy." Votok's image loomed behind him, voice low but clear. "The Council will honor this truce. Earth has proven its strength, but strength without wisdom invites destruction. Do not forget the fire you carry." "We won't," Hale replied. "Not this time." Applause echoed, cautious, uncertain, but real. For the first time, Earth and the Galactic Council shared more than fear. They shared survival. In orbit, the remains of the fleet drifted like ghosts. Salvage drones hummed between twisted hulls, collecting debris. Among the wreckage floated the silent Valkyrie array. Its core dim, its circuits scarred, yet a faint pulse still glowed deep inside. Lena's voice played over the comms as engineers scanned the device. "Record everything. No one touches the core. It's not a weapon anymore. It's a witness." One drone zoomed closer, lights flickering across fractured metal. A small console blinked. 3 pulses, then silence. A message buried deep in the machine, unread. Weeks passed. Cities rebuilt, ships repaired, and yet across the system, strange whispers surfaced. Signals bouncing between moons, fragments of sound that didn't belong, static, echoes, sometimes words. "Remember, watch, choose." Each time the signal faded before anyone could trace it. Some called it interference, others prophecy. Hale didn't care for myths, but he never stopped listening. In the Orbital Museum of First Contact, a new monument stood, a shard of black glass from one of the Seed's ships encased in energy fields. Children from across Earth came to see it, staring at their reflection in its smooth alien surface. One young girl pressed her hand against the glass. For a brief second it glowed, faint, warm, as if remembering. A guard saw it and smiled softly. "Careful," he said. "That piece has a story." The girl looked up. "Will it come back?" The guard paused. "Maybe, but if it does, we'll be ready." Far beyond the solar system, where light itself bent around ancient gravity wells, the seed of fire drifted in silence. Its vast fleet circled a newborn star, absorbing energy, studying its own reflection. It had judged countless worlds. Most had fallen. Only one had resisted, not with surrender but with defiance and unity. Inside its luminous core, fragments of human voices echoed. "We don't surrender. We fight for life. Not to gods, not to ghosts." The seed watched the stars, and for the first time in ages it hesitated. Perhaps they will break the cycle. Its ships turned slowly, their lights dimming into the void. The galaxy slept again, uneasy, uncertain but alive. Back on Earth, under a sky full of quiet stars, Marcus Hale stood alone on a cliff overlooking the ocean. The waves rolled softly against the rocks, carrying the scent of salt and ash. He raised his gaze upward. Somewhere out there, beyond the black ancient eyes, still watched. He didn't smile. He didn't fear. He simply whispered, "We're still here." And the stars, for just a heartbeat, seemed to shimmer in reply. The echo of fire had faded, but its promise remained.